benevolent source of all that is always moving. So it's not just love, but it's literally this light that is always moving us to a greater awareness and consciousness. So Renee's comment was, well, I need that to be more personal, than that, I need to know God loves me, and I want that personal experience with that. And I go, I get that, and I honor that completely. And for me, I get that there were parts of me that my old wounding was that, that it's not about that as much as it was the overall experience of the benevolence. I didn't want it titled, I said, when you say it that way, to me, it feels like an anthropomorphic God. And I said, so I interpret it as the universe is benevolent, and so it was a great conversation. I share it with you because part of what we're learning is to understand what works inside of me, what works in my interpretation, so that I can start to access that place where I trust that God of my understanding, that self of the divine that I am, the essence that I am, that God loves me, that the universe is benevolent, whatever words you need to put to it to open yourself to a new place of trust. See, when we come into trust, we relax into being ourselves. We allow our natural self to come out. We recently rescued a new puppy. We have, many of you know, we have Cosmo, and he's he was rescued about 3 years ago, and he's, of course, been really awesome dog, but I knew he needed a playmate, in the house. And so we rescued this new little Shih Tzu, we named her Princess. Well, she told us that was her name, so she told us her name was Princess, and so brought that in. Well, and at first, it was interesting to watch her. She'd come out of some kind of a situation of abuse. And so she was scared and tentative, and everything frightened her. And the littlest movement is something, she would kind of cower and run back, and especially from a male. And so when David would come in the evening or whatever, then she would be especially cowering at first. And so, we're just loving her and loving her and loving her and helping her to know that she is just going to receive absolute love here. And in this process, it's been only a month, but to watch her transform into relaxing, into being herself and her personality coming out and her playfulness and her freedom to express who she is in a given moment. And those things that she was afraid of before, it's like that never existed. She's like just there, and she's just full of love. And see, the truth is, she models what you and I are up to, what we are about in this journey, of learning to know there is nothing but love here for us. And so we've been taught to perceive things as other than love, as other than light, as other than benevolence. And yet what we're learning at this time and what we're accessing is that that is all there is. And all of a sudden, we get the freedom to be creative. And when trust powers our creativity, it is so on fire and so impassioned and so alive in us that we can't help but share who we are and our light and our gift with the world. See, and that's what we're up to right now. And learning to say, oh my gosh, I can trust myself. She didn't trust herself to jump up on the bed at first, Some might think that's good, But now she's right up there, no problem at all, And we don't trust ourselves to, to take on and be creative and be with the flow of what does our playfulness and our joy and our light and our celebration of who we are bring us to in a given moment. And when we begin to access that and live from that, then all of a sudden we become trust-powered creators. And we create a world around us that our everyday moment is joyful. It is so wonderful to show up and play with somebody else in the journey, because we recognize that we're light beings kind of dancing and celebrating our light together. Many years ago, I was given a vision of being taken into the other realms to experience what is it we experience as light beings. And one of the things that my vision was given to me was that we literally are these light beings, but we're more than a light being. We are literally swirls of different colors of light, almost like ribbons of light. And that what happens when we see each other as light beings, that kind of see is funny, but when we experience, we just literally merge and have this light show that goes on. Our lights swirl and dance and celebrate, and we merge together in celebration of the fact that we are here as these divine light beings. And we wear our light ribbons with just great joy and celebration all the time. And I think of that often, that when we are in our place of trust, then the creativity is like the light goes out and it creates colors we've never seen before, experiences and dances and light just celebrating itself. So that's what we're up to in the world right now. And we are coming to a place to take a look at if there's anything with this, not only take a look at it, it's kind of like it's in our face whether we like it or not, right? If you notice, whether you like it or not, what's happened as we increase the vibrational frequency here, and as what allows more light to come through, our beings are lighter and lighter vibrational beings. We are becoming more crystalline bodies. In this process, we are like the crystal that shares more light within ourselves. But what's happening is that as we clear that crystal that we are, is that there are places where we've had old belief systems or old ways of being that don't serve us fully at this time to be fully aligned with that love and with that truth. And so as a result, it's what's coming up to the surface. It's like the light pushes it up to the surface so we can say, oh, that no longer is in full alignment for me. It served me well. I don't want to condemn it anyway. I want to rejoice that it was there for me because it served me. And yet now I can say, oh, what if I just let that go? What if I allow the light to just move that on out and I embrace and love that part of me that has been in darkness in whatever way, in whatever reason. So we're really in places where we're more and more of this light celebrating itself. And I want to invite you to be aware. Notice how trusting you are. How much do you trust yourself? Notice how much do you trust others in your world? How much do you trust that divine essence of you? Do you allow your gifts to come out and express? Or do you withhold and hold back or feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not worthy, or all those old things? We're letting go of all that at this time. So now is a time to really open to that trust, because our creativity is about to go off the planet, off the scale, off in every way, because we're really letting it come free and celebrating and flying as that true butterfly. And the reason, part of what we're doing is that we are celebrating it with one another. When we see each other and we see each other for who we are as a divine expression and honor and acknowledge each other's gifts, it's like taking those steel bands away that Marilyn sang so beautifully about. So what I know, and I invite you to find your own knowing in your own soul, is that we live in a most benevolent universe. That God loves us unconditionally. And that we are here to share in the creative joy of who we are individually and collectively. This is a Garden of Eden. And we are here to live out heaven on earth here and now. God bless you and have a fabulous, fun-filled week. And we can start that with the picnic.